Hey there, Vanagon addicts. It's Ken Wilford here at Vanagon, coming at you today, Friday the 26th of February in the year of our Lord 2021. Hope you guys are doing great, having a great day. If you come into the stream and you want to say hi, please go ahead and do so in the chat. If you watch this afterwards and you say, hey, I didn't get notified, I wanted to be in here and chat with you, you need to make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And then also there's a little bell. When you subscribe, you have to click on that to get notifications so that you will know when we are here and we are ready to talk to you guys. Alright, I see Daniel in here. Good to have him with us today. We got some items this week. I was telling you that last week that we were looking for some new items to come in. We got some of them, and I'm excited to show it to you guys today. But, you know, we had a situation last week with the big snowstorm out west, and you would say, what is that doing? What does that affect you? Because you're in New Jersey. We did have a small snowstorm here. Thankfully, it did not affect us very much. But there is still repercussions from the Texas one where stuff is getting delayed. Okay, so just let people know. All right, I see Rob LeBeau is here. Good to have Rob. Good to have Chuck here with us as well from Delaware. So just understand that if you are on the West Coast or you're in Texas, some of the items got delayed. I even had a shipment from France that was coming through Nashville, and that got delayed because of snow in Texas. I don't know if somehow the snow was also in Nashville, but good to see Jackbox here from the UK. Alright, so good to have you guys out here. I mean, last week we had a really large amount of people in our stream. We had I think around 30, and that was a big surprise to me. So I'm hoping maybe this week we will see something similar. If we don't, that's fine, but it was cool to have that many people in last week. So we did get some more items. Yeah, the UK is getting beat up right now, I know, because of COVID and Brexit. It's like the wombo combo. So I hope you guys, things get better soon over there. Alright, Daniel cannot wait anymore to share the new parts that we got. So we have our magical box here that has our parts inside that we're going to... we have one of the parts in here. So what do you guys think it is? I always ask you guys this so I can kind of find out what your dream parts are that we can't get yet. Okay, so what do you guys think it is? I was on one of my supplier sites a couple days ago. They make a lot of reproduction stuff, and I was very encouraged because on their site they are now making a reproduction of the Rabbit instrument cluster. That the housing of it, they're making a reproduction of that, and then I also saw they're making a reproduction of the printed circuitry that goes behind the cluster for the Rabbit. Now, I had talked to him about making a Vanagon version, and he was supposedly looking into that. I think I may have gave him one of those as a guide, but then they were asking me for a wiring diagram. I'm like, I don't have a wiring diagram. Just look at the thing. I don't know. But anyway, so the instrument cluster is not in the box. Okay? But I'm hoping, I have hope. Since they're making the Rabbit one, maybe they'll make the Vanagon one. It's not really any harder, I wouldn't think, as long as they have the willpower. Alright. Nobody's guessing because everybody is too excited. Alright, let's see what it is. Are you ready? Here we go. Does anybody know what it is? And this is a left and a right on this part. So I have both of these. Okay, I got my finger stuck in this hole in the top. Hopefully that's not making it too unobvious of what it is. What do you guys think? You know what this thing is? It's something that hasn't been available for at least probably 10 years as a new part. Yep, that's right. It's the expansion tank for the gas tank system. Okay, so sometimes when you are putting your new gas tank lines in, those can get broken, the little nipple things at the bottom, or sometimes the gas tank itself can get broken because, like the plastic tank, because it's old, okay, and that kind of stuff. Yep, people will drill through them or whatever. So this is a brand new part, made by JP Group, good quality part, and we have them on the site. They are up for sale. If you need one, okay, now you might not need it, but when you need it, you need it. I've had people call me like, this thing got broke, and I'm fixing my gas tank. What do I do? Okay, you need a used part. Okay, that's all I could do. Now we have a new part. I did get another item that I actually just got here a few minutes ago, so I haven't even had a chance to really even look at it. So I guess this is technically like an unboxing video. Okay, but let's take a look at this. What bees this? Okay. Well, this is actually the inside paper, or whatever I'm going to say. It's like a vinyl that goes on the inside of a Westfalia ceiling above the driver and passenger side. And I think it also goes in the rear, like the cabinet. Okay. But this is that vinyl that if you're sitting in your front Westfalia seat and you look up, okay, that is what this is supposed to be. Now this one I got here, it's like a beige color, and it's got like a basket weave pattern on it. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so we have this. This actually is supposed to be coming from Westfalia. So I'm going to put this on the site as well. If you're redoing your Westfalia and you have a problem with that panel that's above your head when you're a driver or passenger person and you need a new piece to cover it, okay, this would be a great solution for that. So that's what this is, and we just got this in stock today. I've got 4 sets of them, so if you need those, we got those as well. It says film. Let's see, I'm trying to read. It's in French, but decorative film, PVC, 100 by 124 centimeters, and it's for Westfalia between 78 and 92. Okay, so it's the overhead. It's almost like contact paper, but this stuff doesn't have any adhesive on it. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like shelf paper. So, yep. So, we're talking about kits for the rebuilding the dash cluster. There's plates to insert vintage VDO gauges. I mean, I understand all that stuff. I mean, at one point, I was even trying to come up with a electronic cluster just to like sidestep all these issues with the clusters. But, I would really just love to have an original style cluster that I can just put back in something, you know what I'm saying, and get it back on the road or sell it or whatever. Okay, so, sometimes you want to do something custom, but sometimes it's just nice to just make it look like it was originally, and it's like a lot less work too a lot of times. So that's the 2 newest things that we just got in the last couple of days. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that came in that order. We had a big order, over $3,000, and it was 5 packages with FedEx, and 3 of them came right away, and 2 of them, like I said, they sent me a notice that said that there was a delay beyond their control, So that was probably the weather, the snowstorm. And then randomly, just a few minutes ago, this really long box showed up with these, pieces above, like these, like shelf paper type stuff. Okay, so that came up. Yeah, I mean, the speedometer problem is very, very common. Or the odometer problem, I'm sorry. It's very common. I'll have you'll see vans. Here's a tip for you. Here's a helpful tip. So you're looking for a Vanagon for sale. You go on the Samba. You see this van where it says 76,000 original miles. Okay, or 89,000 original miles, or 90-something thousand original miles. And you get excited. And then they're actually nice. They put a picture of the instrument cluster close up, right? So you can see they're telling you the truth with the miles. But when you look at the odometer, instead of it just being straight like this, it's crooked like this. Okay? That means that odometer does not work. And it hasn't worked in years. Most likely. And so you could either do a Carfax on it and try to figure out when the last time in the Carfax the odometer was actually working. Maybe it was just a couple years ago. Maybe it was 20 years ago. You just don't know. Okay, so for odometers, I usually always send them off and have them repaired at a place called Overseas Speedometer. And if you go online, I believe their website is speedometer.net. Let me just try to pull it up here real quick. Yeah, it's speedometer.com. Why do I always think it's .net? I have no idea. Alright, let me see if I'm good enough to do this. And then see, I don't know how I would do that. Alright, I'm still getting the hang of this thing. Alright, ready? We're gonna do this real quick and then we're gonna go to this. Does that work? Overseas Speedometer. Then I'm clicking to see if it works and I can't see anything. So Overseas Speedometer is the place I usually always use. They're not cheap, okay, but I understand what Jackbox talking about, print a cog and fix it and all this other stuff. The problem is, there can be a lot of times multiple issues going on, and so I would rather just fix it once and be done with it. That's my personal preference. So if you send it to these guys, speedometer.com, they will fix it for you. They will make sure the speedometer is calibrated correctly. They'll lubricate it. It won't make any more weird noises. Does that sound familiar? And your odometer will get fixed. And you can actually set it to, back to your, like they'll keep your mileage. They'll set it to 0, whatever you want them to do. Okay, so there you go. There's my little plug for them. But they are very good and they do good work. Alright, so that's what's going on that way. This week, we got some nicer, warmer weather. The last several days, like, Texas went from 0 degrees the other day to 60-something degrees. I mean, I'm actually scared they're going to have tornadoes or something, but I haven't heard anything that way. Because, when you have those super big changes in temperature. So anyway, here in New Jersey, we've definitely had some temperature rises here, and it's been around 50 degrees most of this week during the day, and you can kind of tell because people are starting to call me locally and want me to give them a price on things or send parts to them or whatever. I mean, it's been this winter, most of our sales has been to the West Coast, of course, and Florida. So, we did quite a few, like North Carolina, South Carolina sales and stuff like that. But I mean, if I said how many sales I had to Maine or New Hampshire or Massachusetts or whatever, it's very low because of the weather. So the weather's starting to get better. We're going to hopefully get a lot more people getting excited about their vans, getting their vans ready to go. Good to have Chris Snyder on here with us, and he is one of our Patreons, so I got to give him a shout out. Winter is usually all starter motors, alternators, and batteries. Okay. Yeah, I mean here, some people have nice garages to do stuff in, and some people don't. So if you don't have a nice garage to do something in, and it's like 25 degrees outside or something, and there's snow on the ground, it doesn't really make you feel too excited about doing anything. So I understand why, people don't do as much in the wintertime in the Northeast, and then of course in the Midwest it's cold out there too. California is nice usually, and we do actually get quite a few orders from Washington State too, so I don't think they get as cold. It's rainy and stuff, but it's not as cold. So the weather's getting better. People are starting to think about, right, working on their vans. So yeah, it might be a good idea if you're thinking about working on your van to get a jump on those people and buy your stuff now before we run out. Because, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to run out, but, definitely business is getting ready to pick up. And when business picks up, stuff starts running out a little bit faster. I have a lot of window seals in stock. I've been trying to continue to tell people that. We have window seals. We're going to get them eventually one day. No, we got them. So if you need window seals, we've got that trim that goes around it, right? The stuff that looks like a chrome trim that I personally, is not for me, but some people want it. They want their van to look like it's from the 80s. I love the 80s, so I'm fine with that. But we have that chrome trim stuff in stock. We have window seals in stock for that. We have the regular window seals that are blacked out, which is what I prefer, because I like stuff to be just more simple. We have all that stuff, okay? So if you need window seal, if you need a door seal, rear hatch seal, back hatch glass seal, anything, okay, we got it. And the shelves are it's all trying to slide off the shelves onto the floor. So, I'd like to move it, because, I was just getting so paranoid about not having enough, and then I bought a lot. And it'll be gone soon. I mean, when people buy these whole kits of window seals, it's very weird. You'll have a ton and it'll be flopping everywhere, and then you sell like 4 sets and then they're all gone. So that's just the way it goes. But anyway, so I'm trying to think of anything else new going on this week. My daughter's wedding's coming up on March the 13th. Okay, so that is going to be a thing, and it's coming up very soon, and my wife is getting ready for that, so that'll be great. And also, hopefully I'm going to be taking a trip to Florida afterwards, the 15th. Okay, yep. Now this isn't the daughter that's been on this show. This is my other daughter. Actually my slightly younger daughter. She is about 21. So she has been dating a young man who is a local police officer for about 4 years. And now they have finally got to the point where they're going to get married. He's got a nice job, and she's went to school to be a nurse and all that stuff, and she's done, he's done. So now they're saying, hey, we got enough money, we can, do our own thing. So that's good. So anyway, so that's happening. And then, like I said, Lord willing, I'm going to be going to Florida on the 15th of March. Okay, we're going to be going down there for a short vacation. My other daughter, who has been on the show before, Leah, she will be here packing things up and shipping things out for you guys. But I need a break. We have had such an amazing year last year with our sales being off the charts, craziness. But also my dad passing away, and now my daughter getting married. It's like all these different things. Like, we just need a break. My wife and I are basically just burnt out emotionally. So we've ran the whole gamut. We ran the gamut from the coronavirus, father-in-law having throat cancer, my dad dying, my daughter's getting married, and, all this other stuff. So we need at least a couple. I would like to take a month, but, that's not very practical. So at least a couple weeks. Try to get our batteries recharged so we can come back and be, excited about life again and all that good stuff. Vanagon wedding present. So my daughter and her fiance wanted to buy a car. Well, actually, here's what happened. In the snowstorm we had here in New Jersey, his truck skidded off the road and hit a tree. Okay, so he had like a Chevy S10 type truck, extended cab, and it wasn't that great. But it slid off the road, hit a tree. Thankfully, he was okay, but totaled the truck. The insurance company, he somehow had full coverage on it. Okay, and the insurance company gave him a good, actually about $7,000 for the truck, and so he wanted something. So they had been looking around, and they found a Volkswagen, a 2009 Volkswagen Tiguan. Okay, Tiguan. I don't know if you guys know about this or not. A Tiguan is a combination of a tiger and an iguana. I don't really know how a tiger gets together with an iguana. It sounds like there was some alcohol involved. But anyway. Alright. Tiger, iguana, Tiguan. It's fast, but it's also has good tread feet. I don't know. So they took me with them to look at this car, and it's a very nice car. Okay, I really like this car. It has a 2.0 turbo gas engine. It has full-time all-wheel drive, which is cool, and it's got a really humongous sunroof. I mean, in a way, I guess it's kind of like the Tesla, where you get this big, massive sunroof before they did it. So it's pretty cool. And so I went and looked it over with them, test drove it with them. It was snowy and all this other stuff, but we did all that stuff, and so they bought it. So they don't need a Vanagon wedding present, but if you want to buy them a Tiguan wedding present, I'm sure they would be happy to do that. She has a 2004 Jetta wagon as well, gas, so that's her normal car. This one technically is replacing his truck, but he wants to get another truck. So, and there's a long story right now about why that's hard, but we won't get into that. Rob says, you and your wife need a camping adventure. I kind of agree with you in a way. She wants to go back out west. We did this trip back in 2011. I went out west in a camper and went all over the place and did all kinds of cool stuff. She wants to do that again. But of course, this past year with virus and then all the other things going on, wasn't really convenient, and really the last time we did it, we took like a whole entire month, I don't know if some of you guys, most of you guys are in the U.S., you know what I'm talking about. If you're going to go traveling in the U.S., you got to have some time on your hands, because, you could go a week and you're not even barely doing it. You're not even scratching the surface. Like if I said I want to go from here to San Francisco in a week, I wouldn't barely be able to do anything. I could do it. I could see a couple things, but I wouldn't really see everything that I would want to see. So the last time we took a whole month and did it. And, we might do something like that eventually. Again, maybe next year, I'm thinking. Because by then, hopefully the whole virus thing will be blowed over. And we can kind of relax. Like anything right now, because of the virus stuff, it just makes everything more of a pain. Unless you're just renting a house and kind of chilling there. That's kind of our plan for Florida. So, we'll see how that goes. Alright, so, yep, I enjoyed that Tiguan. It's a very nice car. I mean, to be honest with you, my other daughter, Leah, that's been on the show, she has a 2012 New Beetle. I really like that. Okay, I mean, that thing, whew. Actually, I like that. I don't know, I haven't drove the Tiguan totally. I rode in the back seat of it. I haven't drove it yet. But, I'm telling you, that New Beetle, don't fall over, stop. Something's back there is creaking. That New Beetle, that will go. I feel happy. I get a big smile when I'm driving it. That Tiguan is also one of those cars, hopefully it won't be something that tears up every 10 minutes. That's the only bad part, but we'll see. That was their first year, 2009. So sometimes there's bugs in the mix, but we'll see what happens. Yep, we'll definitely do it before the grandkids get here. I have 2 younger sons. One's 18 and the other's 16, so hopefully we'll be able to take them and go and do some stuff and travel some more with them. Alright, does anybody have any burning Vanagon questions today? I didn't even ask you guys that yet. Burning Vanagon questions. Okay, we're about 25 minutes in, so I don't want to keep sitting here yakking. If you guys have questions, we can answer them. The crafter, yeah. Weak, inappropriate engine, yeah. Yep. I mean, I keep getting people sending me all these things about the new bus. And I think, somebody sent me a thing today. My friend sent me a thing today about the new bus. A thing on Twitter that was saying, let me see if I can bring it up here real quick. And I'll try to click on it. And then I will try to bring it on the screen. And then you guys can yell at me because I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, so display capture, we got that. Alright, we're going to do this real quick. And then we're going to do this. Alright, so, alright, here's this thing. It says, Volkswagen commercial vehicle moves ahead with autonomous driving, R&D for mobility as a service. Oh, great. Isn't that great? Look at this thing. It just looks so real. I mean, I can just reach out and just touch it, how real it is. And it's definitely going to happen, 100%, not fake. Even a little bit. Yep. So, introduction of autonomous systems for traffic use in 2025 is currently being prepared at Volkswagen commercial vehicles. Christian Sanger, head of autonomous driving. This year, for the first time, we're conducting field trials in Germany in which the self-driving system by Argo AI will be used in a version of the future ID Buzz by Volkswagen commercial vehicles. Okay. Now they're also working with Ford. Ford's invested in this Argo AI as well. I don't really know if that's a plus or a minus when these have these different, companies coming together. But, so, I had heard about the Volkswagen commercial vehicle thing getting the ID Buzz treatment. In other words, you're going to have an ID Buzz that is basically a commercial vehicle, so it could be used as a parcel vehicle, delivery vehicle, something like that, pretty much. Okay, I mean, that's what commercial vehicles are, right? Delivery vehicles. It says robo-taxis. All the taxi drivers are going to love that. But again, this is all pie in the sky. Okay, so let me zoom back. All right, I'm back. It's all pie in the sky. Volkswagen with their okie doke. So we'll see what happens. My own personal. Hey, there's a picture of me in the corner. I didn't even see that. Oh my gosh! All right, what the technology level is just beyond anything. So maybe if all right, hold on. Anyway, I'm getting there, guys. I'm still trying to work out this OBS stuff. All right, so we got some questions here. I was rambling on that. We've got, how is the supply of bare South African-made radiators? Von Westy. Well, I will tell you. They put all the Volkswagen, all the bare South African-made radiators. They put them in a boat. Okay, they put them in a boat and they put them on a lake, and then they pushed the boat into the lake. And as the boat was going through the lake, a guy was staying on the shore with a arrow, and they set the arrow on fire, and they shot the arrow, and it arced and landed into the boat, which was also full of gasoline, and burnt, and it just set it on fire. And as the boat just kept going into the distance, we all did this. So there you go. that is what has happened to the supply of bare South African made radiators. It has gotten a Viking funeral, and that's the end of it, as far as I know. Bare radiators, that's right, Jackbox gets it. Alright, bare radiators are no longer made in South Africa. They're no longer OEM style. They are made in China now, and they're thinner, and they're basically like all the other China radiators. And that's all there is to it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. That this happened, they ran out back in August. I grabbed as much of them as I could possibly grab, and I couldn't grab any more. And that's it. There's none. So, you know, if you want to continue to look for them, do so. There are a couple other brands, I will say, that are similar. So I have some here that I actually talked about a few streams ago that is similar in the design of it, in the shape of it. They are made in China. There is other ones that are also similar in the design and shape that I believe are made in Taiwan. But that is all I can say. Okay, so buy bare Vanagon radiators. We knew you. We loved you. That's it. Alright, so that's all there is. Yeah, I mean, I have a friend that has one of them in Belize. If you want to, take a boat or a plane down there, he might sell it to you. Probably not, though. He spent a ton of money importing it. But then it's just been sitting in his garage for like the last 10 years. So let's keep going here. So that's that answer. That's, the same answer when people ask me about the South African grill kit. Exactly the same thing happened to them. People, they like to, honor the dead. Okay, let's go on. So we got Chuck, Christopher Nelson says, talk me out of a Boston conversion over another. Nah, do it. Okay. Chuck got hot start problem. Drive 20 minutes, shut off, cranks won't start. Wait half an hour starts. What can cause this? ECU has been eliminated. Yeah, I know. I think we actually replaced that ECU twice or something. It's usually, that sounds a lot like the temp 2 sensor, or the wiring to it that's going bad, or the ground to it that's going bad. So I guess what I would say is when you have that problem, if you have an ohm meter, you can check the sensor, like ohm reading, see what it is, see if it's in limits. You can check the wiring to the ECU with an ohm meter, see if it matches. If it doesn't, then something's in the wiring. You see what I'm saying? So it's usually one of those two things, because it's a very common issue on the 1.9s. I bought a 1.9 like that one time. The guy had to turn. He had a little switch to turn the fuel pump on and off. Because what actually happens is it floods. Because the temp 2 is faulty and it gives it a bad reading. It'll flood. So he had a switch up by the dash. When you had a hot restart, you would turn the switch, turn the fuel pump off, start the car on fumes, and then turn this thing on, and it started right up. So and I bought a van like that, and once, but I hate that. I don't want to have a little switch thing. I don't have to tell my wife, okay, you're gonna drive this, go to Wawa, get milk, but when you come out, you're gonna have to flip the switch and flip now. So it was the temp 2 sensor. Alright, so we got Chris Snyder. I like the looks of the Vanagon much better. Yes, I do. I mean, I like the looks of the new bus. I think it looks cool. I think if you were sitting in it and you went for a drive in it, you would be like, this is a nice vehicle. This is a nice, solid vehicle. Now, is it as big as a Vanagon? Nope. Okay, so it's going to limit what you can do with it. Okay, but, as far as the looks of it, I like. As far as probably riding in it, I would probably like that. I mean, I went in that Tiguan, got in the back seat, and went for a ride. I mean, it has nice leg room. It's very comfortable back there. The seats are comfortable. Okay, so, alright, so let's keep going here. Christopher Nelson gives me a heart and a peace symbol, or hang loose symbol. What transmission modifications do you recommend with the Bossy conversion? So, I really haven't done any. Now, I will say that I was kind of disappointed with an automatic transmission with the Bossy conversion. The manual would be a better choice, just because you're getting the most power. Like when you use an automatic transmission on anything, you're losing probably like 20% of your power in losses. You know, because it's not a direct drive transmission. It uses that torque converter, and you're actually losing power because of the torque converter. Now, I love automatic transmissions, but we did Bossy conversion into an automatic Westie, got it all said and done. You go to take off, it's not taking off no faster than a regular water boxer. And you're sitting there going, I just spent all this money, and it's not even, I don't even get the, you know, the fizzing, the fizz. You know what the fizz is, right, Jack Box? You've watched Top Gear, right? You know what the fizz is? You don't get the fizz with the automatic, okay? But you also don't have to shift every 2 seconds. So as far as the manuals, again, I haven't really done any mods to them. So the regular transmission, unless you're really, really, you know, I would say do it as is, and then later on, if you say you want to do some mods, or the transmission needs to be rebuilt, then do mods. But just as is, I think you'd be happy with it for the most part. Most people will be happy with it. Yeah, temp 2 has been replaced. Could have gone bad. Or, like I said, the wiring. The wiring, you know. Again, the big thing I've ran into is... the big thing I've ran into with the DigiJets and Digifonts, but mostly DigiJets, is that the wiring is dying. And, you know, you can do repairs on the wiring, or you can just get a new harness. That's, you know, I'm kind of leaning towards that. If you've done more than 2 repairs on your harness, I would recommend just getting a new harness, because the more repairs you do, the more chances that there's going to be issues and problems in the future. So anyway, that's my advice. I know the new harnesses are not cheap, but it's less of, you know, it makes it a more reliable car, definitely. You become a steering wheel attendant. I mean, I like automatic transmissions in Vanagons for a couple reasons. One is the reliability of them is actually very good. So in lots of other cars, it's terrible. If you had a Chrysler minivan in the 80s, your automatic transmissions were terrible junk, garbage. Okay, that's why you don't see any of them on the road now. It's because of the transmissions. But the Vanagon, on the other hand, automatic transmission, I've seen them go 300,000 miles, pretty much no issues except leaks. Okay, and as long as you keep cool stuff in it, you're fine. The manual transmissions had a factory defect. Okay, they had a factory defect where the 3rd and 4th gear slider hub assembly, the way they designed it, it had sharp corners on this one part, and when you have sharp corners on a part, on the inside of a part, you have stress risers. Okay, and so the 3rd, 4th slider hub would break. Usually it breaks at approximately between 125,000 and 140 or 150,000 miles. And I've had people call me and they talk about, yeah, my transmission broke. What time? When did it break? The van has 125,000 miles on it. Yep. The van has 140,000 miles on it. Yep. The van has 150. Just turned 150,000. Yep. So the good news is when they rebuild it, the new 3/4 slider hub assembly is redesigned. They radius the corners so there's no stress risers anymore. So the problem is not a problem anymore. But once it's rebuilt, okay? So that's the only bad part. If it wasn't for that problem, the manuals would probably have went 200,000 miles too. Okay? Sadly, that problem kind of makes them less reliable. Alright, so that's one reason. The other reason is I really never have liked the way the Vanagon shifts. It shifts, very large throws, kind of like you're rowing a boat. And then if you get stuck in traffic and you're going, stop and go, it's just annoying. I mean, My first car was a Rabbit pickup truck, Caddy that had that little Rabbit shifter. Shifting a Rabbit is fun, right? Shifting a Rabbit, shifting a GTI or a GLI or a Jetta or whatever is fun and enjoyable. Shifting a Vanagon is too much like work. Now, shifting a Vanagon is a million times better than shifting a bus, because shifting a bus is terrible and horrifying. Okay? But shifting a Vanagon is a lot better than that. But it's just more like annoying if you're in lots and lots of traffic. It's possible, Chuck. It's very possible. I mean, if you're not having any issues with it at 198,000 miles, I would pretty much tell you it's been rebuilt. Yeah. Because they just don't last that long. The manuals. Okay, so Daniel wants to know who makes the best quality panel replacements, no cheap junk. There's a company in the UK that has been making repair panels for the last couple of, maybe, I don't know how many years. Not a long time. 4 or 5 years. And I have a lot of their stuff. Not every single thing I have is from them. So I still do have some stuff that's from, was it Klenkner or something like that? That's like a Danish company. Yeah, I think it is Schofield's Jackbox. Yeah, I believe that's who that is. So Schofield stuff is very nice. Okay, it's kind of funny because when you get it, you can see where they made like pencil marks on it, and they're hand doing it. And they're not charging a ton of money for it either. The money level is very good. Okay, so if you can get that, I would get it. If you can't, but there's some stuff that they don't make. Okay, and I don't know how big they are, but they're not putting out a lot of quantity of panels either. So, like when I'll get a panel, I'll get 1 or 2. Now, JP Group has been making some panels. Like they make a nose panel that I was actually very, I was very impressed by their nose panel that they make now. So I would say JP Group I like. Klenkner, I'm probably not even saying it right. Some of their panels seem a little cheap and flimsy. But the Schofield panels, which are made in the UK, they seem like they actually are trying to make them as close to the original as they can. So, that's my 2 cents on that. I have a bunch of different ones here. I could show it to you, but it'd be hard to see. How do you know the Schofields from the other ones? They're not painted at all. And I've had some of them get a little tiny surface rust on them, but that don't really do anything. But yeah, I mean, they're not painted at all. They're just basically straight steel, and you can see Clockenhome. Okay, there you go, Clockenhome. I couldn't remember the name of it. Clockenhome is like the one. They've been making these repair panels forever. They've been doing it for like as long as I've been in business, 20 years. Good to see Sean here with us. They've been doing it for like 20 years. And their stuff is decent. Most of the time people put it in and paint it and everything, and you're not going to sit there and punch it or kick it or whatever. So it's better than Bondo. But if you want it to be even just the next higher level, I would say that's the Schofield's one are the nicest ones being made right now. So Daniel says, try the big shift kit, short throws like a Ferrari with headroom. Okay, now that brings me to a question. There was a company making this big shift or big shot or something shifter. Are they still out there? Because people have asked me about them, and I have tried to look into them, and from what I can see, they're gone. They're gone. Clock and home grills, they are okay. They are okay. Now, they're not the only grills out there though anymore. There is another company that I buy stuff from in the UK, they have took it on themselves to make the square grills. But Clock & Home is the only ones I know of that makes the round headlight grills. They're okay. So what do I mean by okay? I mean when you get it, it looks like they didn't of trimming it out of it after it came out of the mold. So you're gonna have, you know, little pieces here and there that if you wanted it to be completely perfect, you would have to trim it with a Dremel tool or something. Or you could just put it on the car and no one will ever notice it anyway and just do that. So, you know. Alright, so the Big Shift kit people are still alive. They're in Arizona. Alright, I will have to look into that and see what's going on with them. I do have a Westie that I told you guys about. I bought an 86. It is an automatic though, which again is what I actually like. So, and my wife will actually drive it if it's an automatic. If it's a manual, she won't because she's little. Okay, and she is getting, you know, she has to put the seat all the way forward. And then when she's got to reach and do all that stuff, she's like, I ain't doing that. So, she laid down the law on me a long time ago on that. Electric power steering kit. So I've gotten more and more questions about that. I don't have any experience with them. I don't know if anybody's actually selling it as a kit form. I've seen people get parts and do it. But as far as I've seen, I haven't seen anyone actually sell it as a kit for, like a specifically kit for the Vanagon. Now maybe somebody makes a generic kit that you can adapt or whatever. But I mean, if you're going to do the electric power steering kit, from what I have seen somebody do, you have to have a manual rack, okay, and then you can put this piece under, you know, under your like down by your feet or whatever, not down by your feet, but like, you know, by your knee area under the steering column, and get electric assist on your steering. But you have to have a manual rack, and you have to have all the other stuff for the manual. And most Vanagons that I've dealt with don't have that. Like most Vanagons have the power stuff, power rack, and all the stuff that goes with it. So unless you have a totally non-power, okay, I would not even worry about the electric power steering. And I'm actually, okay, I'll have to look into that one. Can you give me a link to the one in the UK? Yeah, mine is a manual. See, there's very few of them out there in the US. You know, to like 83, and then there was a very few like 84, 85s, and then after that it was none here. Okay, so I've owned an 85 that had a manual rack, and I will tell you the one cool thing about it was that it had extra power because it didn't have that power steering pump, you know, drawing power from the motor. It actually felt like it had a turbo boost to it because of that. Like it had like probably extra 4 or 5 horsepower because it didn't have a power steering pump. Now, and you know, it really doesn't turn that hard. Like you have a little slightly bigger steering wheel, okay? So you have a little bit more, you know, of a helper for your steering because of the bigger steering wheel. But yeah, it don't really turn that bad. So I mean, I had an 85 with a manual rack. This is the passenger car though. And when that thing was empty, it was a manual transmission as well. When that thing was empty, man, it would book. Okay. Now, if you had one person in there with you, you lost your turbo boost. All right, now somebody asked about. Let's see, Rob asked about the transmission cooler. Let me go get one real quick. So, one of the issues with the automatic transmissions that I actually didn't think about, but it's an issue, is the transmission quote-unquote cooler. I say quote-unquote cooler because people have actually looked into it, and there's kind of a debate on whether it's a cooler or a heater. It uses engine coolant, right, to cool down or something, possibly heat up your automatic transmission fluid, and they have been in the past, very reliable units. I have one here. I could show you the original cooler, but you guys pretty much know what they look like. But the big issue is, as they get older and older, they have the the transmission fluid and the antifreeze, right, are going through this unit, and then over time it can go bad, it can crack, and you'll have coolant in your oil in your transmission, coolant in your transmission. I think that's usually the way that they fail. Okay, so one of the ways to deal with it, and they don't make those transmission coolers any longer. Okay, so if you're looking for one, you're going to find a used one. So what do we have out there? Well, this unit here, okay, is an automatic transmission cooler. It is based off of the same type of an idea as a computer CPU cooler. Okay, it is an aluminum heat sink with fins on it. Okay, it's got a tortuous path in here for the transmission fluid to go through, and it just acts as a nice radiator. So in other words, if you install this onto your van, right, in place of your transmission cooler you got now, it actually comes with a piece of like a plastic thing to join the hoses together for the old cooler, and it comes with, here's that stuff, and some O-rings, right, to install it. This should never go bad, okay, in the future. Why would it ever go bad? Like the other one, if it goes bad, most likely it's because the antifreeze, corroded the old cooler on the inside. This one is going to have transmission fluid on the inside. So that's not corrosive at all. And it's an aluminum heat sink. It will actually get rid of the heat of the transmission, and it also will get rid of the possibility of having a cooler failure. Basically put antifreeze inside your transmission and just bollocks it completely. Okay, so that's my advice on transmission cooler. We had them on the website, Rob. They're not cheap, but it's way cheaper than the after effects of a bad transmission cooler. Okay, let's keep going here. People talking about different things. The power steering thing, I've seen that Saturn View, I mean, the bad part is Saturn stuff and things is old at this point. And like I was telling you guys before, a lot of this older stuff is getting crushed. Okay, so it's probably still out there, but now VW Corsa, we never got that here. I don't even know what model that is actually, Jackbox, but I will have to look that up. Daniel DeSimone says big shift changes the location of the linkage from below the floor to above the floor, shortening the throw, quicker response. Okay, I'll have to take a look at them again, because like I said, I remember the big shot shifter when that came out, but then I thought they went out of business. But maybe this is somebody that's picked up the gauntlet and whatever. Toyota Prius installs inline as well, but needs a custom computer. Okay. All right, now we're to Eduardo. He says, on the subject of transmission, I'm getting ready to pull the engine from my 89 Vanagon. Need guidance as to how to separate engine from the automatic transmission in order to drop engine alone. Okay. So basically, what I normally do is I will get 2 ratchet straps. Okay. I'll get 2 ratchet straps and 2 jacks. Now, I have one of these jacks that you get from Harbor Freight that has a nice strap that goes around it. I would highly recommend that. Okay, or you can get a thing that goes on your jack that replaces that little plate thing that holds it with a thing that has a ratchet strap on it. Okay, so that is to support your transmission. The automatic transmission is very, very tipsy, and there's no really good flat spot under it to support. Okay, so what I normally do is I use this transmission jack. Okay, go up there with that, put the ratchet strap around it. Usually I'll ratchet strap around kind of the midway point of the transmission as best I can. You know, take everything loose. The axle shafts have to come out. You can support them with bungee cords. You want to support the engine underneath with a jack. Okay, but then I also go up above. I hook a ratchet strap to the top edge of the engine compartment, and I run it down. I hook it on top of the engine. There's a little hole there on the top of the engine case that's towards the end where the transmission and the engine come together. Okay, so I'll hook on that with the hook, and then make sure that it's tight. Okay, so then you want to go through. There's a hole in the engine case. Okay, on the kind of like the driver's side top area, there's a hole that's about 1 inch in diameter that you can go through to undo the 3 bolts that holds the flex plate to the torque converter. Okay, so what you do is you turn the engine by hand and you stick your finger or something in that hole every so often until you feel like, okay, here's a bolt that's coming up. Right, turn the engine by hand. So you take a 13 in there, break that loose, take it out, turn the engine by hand to the next one. They're spaced out like 30, 30, 30. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why my face is itching like crazy. And you turn to the next one, undo that one, turn it to the next one, undo that one. Okay. So you go through that little hole in like the engine case where the engine bolts to the transmission. You'll see that. Okay, so once you get those 3 out, then I normally will undo the 2 upper bolts for the transmission and then the 2 lower studs on the motor, between the motor and the transmission. Then I go to the transmission nose, or whatever you want to say, where the mount is for the transmission, and I will take that loose, and sometimes you'll see the whole thing starts to kind of come down at that point a little bit. Okay, so then what you want to do is give a little bit of slack on the engine ratchet strap thing I was telling you about. You want to give it like maybe a couple inches of slack. Okay, then you're going to start to lower the transmission and the motor a little bit. Okay, and then once you're lowering it, you'll see what happens. You get down maybe about 3 or 4 inches of lowering it, you'll be able to tilt it enough so that it can come away from the motor. You don't want the motor to continue to come down with it. You want the motor to stop and kind of be as close to level as possible, because the more the motor is going to come down with the transmission, the more strain it's going to put on your wiring and your hoses and all that stuff. Okay, so, and also I guess as you're taking the transmission down, you're going to see the 2 hoses that hook to the cooler that we were just talking about. You got to basically pinch them off, take them off the cooler, you know, do something with them, put them to the side or whatever, plug them up, drain the antifreeze out, whatever you want to do, but you got to deal with them 2 hoses. You got to unhook the linkage on the side of the transmission, make sure that's all unhooked, and there's a piece of linkage that's going up to the engine. You can just unhook it and leave it up there. It's fine. It's not going to do anything. It's like a rod that goes to the throttle body. You want to unhook that. Actually, before you do any of this stuff, unhook the battery, the negative battery terminal. Then you want to unhook your wiring on your starter, remove the starter. So all that good stuff. So I hope I gave you some ideas on it. But, you know, once you take those 3 torque converter bolts out through that hole, there's nothing really holding the 2 things together that way. So, you know, the nice part about the automatic transmission is, you know, you only really have to get it apart like 1 inch, well, enough to get past those lower studs. Once you get past that, it's out. Okay, and if you start letting it tilt a little bit, it'll come out just a couple inches and it'll be loose. But that's also why you want to have the kind of jack that has a big ratchet strap around it, because, you know, yeah. Because if you don't, that transmission can just fall off onto the floor. That's no fun. Believe me, I've been there and done that. Alright, so that's removing an automatic transmission. Let's continue. I'm almost ready to call it a day. It's been 1 hour so far. So, Jackbox says, best shifter made in the UK. Trying to find it. It's not cheap, but It modernizes the shifter, and then RS Fab made big shot, but he got completely overwhelmed with orders. Someone stepped in and got the company back. Okay, good. That's good to hear. I didn't like to hear anything bad about that RS Fab thing. I'm just, when they disappeared, it was weird. So I'm glad somebody else took it up and they're getting their orders done and getting all that took care of. Steve DeRuiter says hi. He's late. Okay, that's fine. Alright, there's a couple companies in the UK now making rear bearing carriers. Okay, obsolete till now. Holman Engineering is one. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Alright, and then Daniel says he's disassembling van for new body panels and rubber gaskets. Is it wise to have the glass polished? I mean, you could just try doing it yourself, like take them out and wash them and clean them up. A lot of times that's all that's needed. Just get some nice vinegar and some newspapers and have at it. And lots of other obsolete parts. Okay, alright, yeah, so I hope that helped you, Eduardo. It's not hard. Once you do it one time, you're gonna be like, oh, that was pretty easy. And the other nice part of it is having this ratchet strap, right, that holds the engine. When you go to put the transmission back in, it allows you to have like very good control over the angle of the engine versus the angle of the transmission. Again, the transmission jack with the strap on it keeps the transmission, whatever. It actually, on that jack, it has a thing where you can adjust the angle, and then you can adjust the angle on the motor, and put the two things together. So much easier. Because, believe me, I've had where they're just like regular floor jacks. I'm trying to do it from underneath. The transmission keeps trying to fall off every 2 seconds, and the engine is not at the right angle, and you're sitting there just rocking these things, trying to get them together. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, the 3 torque converter bolts and the 2 studs. Then there's actually 2 bolts on the top, and then the engine is mostly, the engine is held up by an engine carrier bar with mounts as well. So the engine's not going to go anywhere. But if you didn't support it, it's going to put a lot of strain on everything. Like the engine mount, it's going to put a strain on them. It's going to put a strain on the wiring, coolant hoses. So definitely don't do it. All right, I see Peter Benici. He's saying good morning. He's over there in Australia land. And over there in Australia land, it is tomorrow. It is probably the 27th in the morning. So he's already in the future. He's a man from the future. And hopefully things are good in the future. But it's good to have him with us. I haven't talked to Peter in a long time. And he's also one of our Patreons as well on Patreon. Alright guys, so I think that is going to be it for today. It's been an hour. We have talked about your burning questions. Thank you guys for coming with us today. As I said last week, please like this show. If you hate it, thumbs down it. Either way, okay, the likes and the hates push this up, right, higher in the ranking so other people can see it. It doesn't cost you guys nothing. You just go down and push the little thumb thing. Boom. Okay? And the more thumbs we get, the better we're going to be doing. Yes, I'm glad, Peter. Australia, COVID is down to single digits. Just be warned. It was down low here, too, in the summertime. So, I've been looking at charts and charts, seeing what's happening. We are on a downward thing with it as well. But here, it was down the whole entire summer. And then as soon as school started again, that's 100%, and that's what it was. As soon as school started and then people were going inside, that's when it went up. So I hope that does not happen. Okay, I don't want, and you guys got the vaccine too now, so hopefully that will just nip it in the bud and it'll be over. If we had had that before the fall, we would have been doing better than we've been doing now. But science, right? Science things. So I tried, Rob. I tried to help you guys out as much as I can. I mean, I've learned all this stuff the hard way. Believe me. Laying under Vanagons and looking up, and the last drop of antifreeze goes and drops right in your eye. It's amazing. And, you know, everybody should experience that at least once. Or that last drop of transmission fluid just drops and lands right in your mouth. So refreshing. Alright, so that's it, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We will see you guys next week. And hopefully have some more stuff that we can share with you guys. And hope you guys get more smiles per gallon. Okay? Have a great rest of your weekend.